What's up, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the 1828 Project. My name is Brandon Ward, and I'm your host. And the purpose of this podcast is to shed light on those from different areas creating Black history and excellence in their own way throughout Las Vegas. So today's episode of the 1828 Podcast, we will be discussing Black history. Our guest today is none other than Sean Tory. Sean is a critical mentor and restorative justice expert. He has a Ph.D. He's a Ph.D. student at UNLV in senior management analysis at the city of Las Vegas, and a proud father and community servant. So let's get started. What's up, Sean?
What's going on? What's popping?
Man, thank you so much for joining me today. Of course, every time I start going live, man, you know somebody got to call on the cell phone. So respectfully, hurry up and put mine on silent. Man, I know I just gave you a brief introduction, but I want you to go ahead and tell people about who you are, because I'm sure I missed out on a lot of stuff.
Oh, man.
I mean, I've been on some platforms with you. I've been on some panels with you. So I know you've done amazing things. So go ahead and give yourself the proper introduction that you deserve.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the short, I'll give you the short, and I guess I'll give you the long. So for if anybody really wants to just know who Sean Tory is, first and foremost, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of faith. I'm a believer of Jesus Christ above. I'm a husband. I'm a father of two beautiful girls, and I have another on the way. And a community servant, an entrepreneur, Ph.D. student. That's the short answer. But I'm from the north side and west side of Las Vegas, born and raised. First generation. I went to King Springs High School, and then I went to University of Nevada, Reno to get my Bachelor's of Science in Human Development and Family Studies with a minor in Business Marketing, and came back home to Vegas once my oldest was born. After graduating, came back home and received my master's in Marriage and Family Therapy at UNLV. Took a 5-year hiatus to work at Nevada Partners, where I worked with in-school youth, out-of-school youth, and pre-entry youth. Then co-created King of Jewels mentorship program to combat school-to-prison pipeline with my good best friend, Nicholas Matthews. And from there, was also an advisor for the Alpha Men and Divas of Tomorrow, which is under my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. From there, left Nevada Partners, went to CSN, was working there for a while, did some great programming out of there, created the Wolf Den series, where we brought Raymond Santana Jr., where we brought Dame Dash, we brought some other folks, and we brought Kaepernick last year and brought his Know Your Rights camp. I was a BSU advisor there. Then in the wake of that, co-created the men's room with Katrina, with Sylvester and Quentin. Katrina is the one who brought us all together, even though we were already connected. We're frat. Those three were frat, and created a safe space for Black men to where they could come and be vulnerable with other Black men, and something we've never seen done before. So it's been a blessing. And then in the midst of that, started my PhD program fall of 2020 during the pandemic, and I'm getting ready to graduate next year. So it's been crazy, whirlwind. But that's Sean Tory in a nutshell. I think that's everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's something I missed, but that's Sean Tory, y'all.
Yeah, brother, you definitely are creating history, and I love it, man. Because I think when I first got acquainted with you, it was through the men's room.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think that was the first time we was actually in the same room together.
Yep.
And I just, like you said, it was a experience that I had never ever experienced before, and just being a brother, I was just so grateful just to be a part of it. Yeah. And I love it because, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and plug it right now. I know we got one coming up this month.
Yes, sir.
February 16th. You want to give them some details on that real quick, and we're going to get that out the way.
We're going to get that. Yes. So the next men's room, the first one for 2023, will be Thursday, February 16th at Dula Community Center at Dula, which is off Las Vegas Boulevard and Bonanza. Yeah, Las Vegas Boulevard and Bonanza. So at Dula, and that's where the men's room will be once a month for the remainder of 2023.
That's what's up, man. I love it. I love the location. It's very central.
Very central.
Yeah, man. Shout out for y'all to bring it back out.
Of course.
Going back on you, man, you've done some amazing things.
Thank you.
I love the resume, but I love seeing you walk what you say, and it's commendable. And then you're a young brother too, very intelligent, family focused. That's commendable as well. And I just think that when you always doing so much, and you're going to school so much, and you got your family, of course, people want to know what's something fun about you, brother. What do you do? What's a fun fact about Sean?
Fun fact. I mean, this is something everybody knows, so I'll say two. Well, I used to step and a lot. I did that all the way since I was 10 years old, all the way until I became an alpha, right? Stepping and strolling is something that not many folks now see me do. You'll see once in a blue moon, but I used to teach kids how to step, and that's really where I got into mentoring. But the second fun fact about me, I'm partially deaf. So I wear hearing aids. A lot of people don't know that, but that's why I'm naturally loud, because I can't hear on the left side of my ear. So there be people who be calling my name and I do not hear them if I don't have my hearing aids in. So yeah, I got my hearing aids in. Folks see, boom. Yeah, man, that's I guess that's a fun fact I'll tell.
All right. So I love it, man. I know you said something about the hearing aid last time, so I'm always on your right hand side.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Last time I was talking to you and we was on the stage, backstage. I was on your right hand side, so I was on the right side.
Yeah, he was on the right side. You was talking to me, and then Lou came and he was like, da da da. I was like,
yeah, I had to turn all the way around.
Yeah, because I didn't have my hearing aids in that day. I was like, oh dang, slipping.
Yeah, man. But much respect to you. So my next question for you is going to be, so we know a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
So let's say, how did you get interested in critical mentorship and restorative justice?
Well, I got into critical mentorship because of the youth group, Alpha Men Divas of Tomorrow. I was actually a member of. I joined when I was 15 because of my god sister. Her name is Jaleese. She, at the time, she was in the youth group, and I was like, yo, like seeing all these kids stepping at the parade, strolling. I was like, yo, I need to get in this. And it was another group I was interested in, but I naturally gravitated towards Alpha Men Divas of Tomorrow. And I never seen Black men who looked like me, who were making money legitimately and didn't have to watch their back. Because especially around the early 2000s, my basketball coach from middle school, not at my middle school, but the club, the AAU team I used to play for, he was a pimp. So it was like, that's what I was used to. I was used to street life. Like I was used to seeing that. That's not the way I wanted to go, but that's who was around until I met the men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And that's when things changed. I joined the youth group, started stepping and strolling everywhere. That youth group was the first group that took me out the country, I was able to get a passport, and I went to Grand Turks and Caicos for free to perform. And that was my first time getting on the radio at 17. But I was in a youth group from my sophomore year all the way to my senior year. And that made a huge impact on my life. And I fell in love with mentoring ever since. And I naturally been doing it because I was bringing in kids, cats was seeing us and was like, yo, what's this youth group? I was naturally bringing them in. And got to college, was mentoring there, and came back home, became an advisor of the same youth group that saved my life. And the rest was history on that. How I got into restorative justice, because at this point I'm mentoring, I'm doing certain stuff. Dr. Tanya Walls, who's one of my professors at UNLV, and she's also in the community. So I knew her before she was Dr. Walls, because she was in the community. She was like, Sean, you need to do restorative justice. You're already doing it. And I was just like, okay, yeah, all right. Not brushing her off, but kind of yeah, okay, I ain't got the time. But I finally had the opportunity to take her course, which was 6 months. I had to take the course. And that's how I was like, yo, I'm already doing this. I just need to apply the structure. I need to really understand it. And once that's when around the time at that time I was already like, okay, cool. I started implementing it within King of Jewels. And then almost like 8-9 months later is when Patrina was like, hey, like I want to create a safe space for Black men. I was like, oh, bet, I got the approach. So I bought the restorative justice approach. Quentin brought the name. He's the one who named the men's room. Sylvester had the questions, and I knew how to structure it so we could make the rounds go. The rest was history. And it took off, and it sharpened my tools, is how I mentor. And I found the parallels and the similarities between critical mentorship and restorative justice. So that's what I'm doing my dissertation in.
It's amazing how that can come together like that, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So I know you touched on a few things. So for those that don't know what restorative justice is,
right.
Brief explanation.
Yeah. So restorative justice, let's be clear, it is an appropriated practice. It's appropriated. The founders of restorative justice actually, they were embraced by an indigenous community in New Zealand. And they also went to other indigenous groups within the African region, the African continent region. They went to Nigeria, Ghana, different indigenous groups to see how they were able to solve issues, solve problems. And some of them are similar. They did circles. And that's where the restorative circles process came. But it wasn't just restorative circles, it was community circles. So where the hierarchy did not matter. When you had an issue, everyone addressed it in circle. And then whenever you were trying to build, you did it in circle. So this is something that restorative justice has been around for centuries. It's something that's not new to the indigenous community, but that's where it started. And when they took those elements and created restorative justice, they did it to implement within the U.S. Criminal justice system, working with their prisoners. That's how it all started. And then it evolved from just restorative justice to restorative justice practices, to restorative justice education, then to transformative justice, and then restorative justice circles. So each of those that I just named have different definitions to them as well. But that's just the gist of what restorative justice is. It's about healing. It's about love. It's about community building. And when there is a situation that happens, then you have something to restore. But one thing about restorative justice, you can't restore a community. You can't restore something that never was established. You have to have a community for something to restore. And with the men's room, we built the community now of Black men to where this is our hub. This is for us. And you can do this amongst different communities, but that's how we built it. It took those first 3 sessions to really build a community, because then once Black men was invested, they're locked in. They're like, yeah, I'm going to the men's room. It's like, we did not expect that, by the way. We were just going to do 3 and call it a day. But it's been going on now on year 2. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I put it was like I was doing all my calendar and all right, let me make sure I got this day set. It was like the first day I was set for the next month. Like, all right, let me put it. All right, it's the 16th. Yep, let me get it. What we have next month? All right, I'm gonna put it on that. I didn't want nothing to come in between that, man. So I appreciate y'all putting that together, and I loved it, man. And another thing I think I want to touch on was how important it is for your youth groups and mentorship. I just feel like, because growing up, I know that they were out there, but they were not promoted, or it wasn't really pushed upon. And I think that children need mentor groups now more than ever, and I think they need great mentors now more than ever. And I don't even think you got to be the best leader, but I think you do have to put yourself in a system to where you can be effective and not be a detriment to that child. You want to talk more about like youth groups and how important they are?
Yeah, youth groups are very, very, very critical. Now, the unfortunate part, because of the pandemic, certain youth groups have not reestablished since the pandemic. But I can tell you, from when I was in the youth group, years before till then, so early 90s to all the way late 2000, I'd say to 2019, you had youth groups that were 100 deep each. Like, each youth group was 100 deep, and they all really pushed college readiness, get you prepared to college or go to the next form of education or go to the military. That was Vegas culture for years. In the Black community, You were either a part of the Alpha Men Divas of Tomorrow, you were in the Kappa League, you were in the Aquatines, you were the Delta Gym, you were Omega Gent, you were Sigma Beta Club, you were Zeta Arcanets. These were all the youth groups. Like, that's what you were doing. If you were not hooping, if you weren't in the youth group, they were kind of like, well, what are you doing? Like that's kind of what it was for the Black community. And a lot of us became Greek. Even if we didn't become Greek, you knew the Black culture, especially shout out to the heavy hitters. You got Lawrence Weekly, former Commissioner Lawrence Weekly, Michael Garrett Bombay, Ricky Barlow, Joshua Gillicay, Julius Davis, Terrence Capers, all these folks who were, and JB's, who was part of Sigma Beta Club, like all these folks who really were instrumental in mentoring all these Black kids for decades. That's we all knew them because they were mentoring us.
I love it, man. And you can see the culture just lives on. Yeah. And that's my thing, man. It's like we got all those segments, right? And it's like, how do we weave everything together?
Yeah.
And I had Lady AK on yesterday, and she was just talking about just letting people be aware of the resources that are out there and people taking advantage of them. And then sometimes it's kind of like voting. You got to push people to take advantage of the resources. You got to push people to want to be better. You got to push people to want more. And one thing that's important for me is just not giving up on people, especially when you come to children. So even when you talk about like, having a vision and getting them to the next level and to show them the possibilities, I think it's very important for them to understand who they are, so they know, you don't want to waste too much time. You don't want to go in the wrong direction.
Right.
You do want to expose yourself to as much as you can, especially people that look like you that are doing great things. So for you to have those role models, you can tell that it shaped you to be the man that you have become. Yeah,
it has. It's made a significant amount of impact on me. And I think those individuals that I mentioned the fellas, but I didn't mention the queens, like Natasha Williams, Waila Clark, Asha Jones, all these Nitsa, all these Patrina was an advisor too. Even my mom, like after I graduated and left, my mom became an advisor. So it's those folks who like Twink and all these other queens. Oh, bro, they was changing the game for us.
Respect. You know what? It's gonna be a part where I'm gonna ask you. You think it's anybody I should bring on? So I'm gonna run this back. I'm gonna get all them names. So let's go on to segment 2 real quick. So segment 2 is creating Black history. Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna dive into the main topic. Can you tell us what that means to you, and how do you think the Black community can create their own history?
So the question is,
So creating Black history. So tell me, what does that mean to you, and how do you think that the Black community can create our own history?
Well, I feel like the Black community is already doing it.
That's right.
They've already. It's not something that's new. Black history is history. It's present. It's now. It's the future. It's anything that within the Black culture that's innovative. Anything that's burst from us, it always starts with us, and then it evolves to everyone else. And I don't know if you even notice. I'll take hip hop for example. Hip hop has become the culture, like globally. Like that's what it is. And I feel the same way towards Black history or just Black culture in general. The way we keep doing that is continuing to remember who we are and what our ethos is, and staying true to what it is. And sometimes that means you can be an activist. That means you're someone who's in the entertainment scene. Or you're someone who's in education, or you're in your particular field. I think that's something we don't have to stick to the same things. We can make sure we add our piece to this world and to this culture. That's what I believe.
I love it. Definitely. And I think, once people find their lane.
Yep.
Find your lane, whatever you're good at, what you love. Mm-hmm. I tell people right now, it's more opportunity now than it's ever been before.
That's true.
And the forgiveness piece and the rebuilding and the healing piece is so important. And I just feel like once everybody goes on that journey and you come out knowing just who you are, and your confidence and knowing what you have to offer the community, and we can't lose. Mm-hmm. Right? I think that and then we all creating Black history our own way, knowing that I think it's very important for us to acknowledge our ancestors, acknowledge those who came before us.
I agree.
But we also need to acknowledge ourselves and our mission and our purpose. and make sure that we are intentional about, about moving forward and making sure that it happens.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 3 now. So we're going to talk about restorative justice.
Okay.
Right? Can you tell us what that is and why is it so important in creating Black history? So you told us what it is. Why is it important in our restoration of our, and then creating Black history?
Well, why it's important because I think oftentimes we discuss how the Black community is divided, and there's a lot of healing that needs to happen that hasn't happened these past generations. We're still carrying the traumas from our great grandparents or great grandparents because it's been passed on, and we don't understand the root of it. So I would say to restorative justice in general, and even throwing in therapy, because I didn't even talk about that portion, because I definitely wanted to be a therapist, which is what I went to get my master's in, and I was going to go and get the licensure. I ended up not doing it because mentoring was more of my calling, but I still use all these elements that I learned into restorative justice, right? And that's what's made me strong in it. But what I will say, it's important for 3 reasons: love, healing, and connecting. Really community connecting. That's why restorative justice is very important and very critical within the Black community, but which is also why amongst the men's room, why it's been so successful, because deep down in our core, this is not new to us.
Right. That love, that healing, and connecting, and I see why it's like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Pick up the talking piece.
Yep.
Respect.
Yeah. It gives you that structure, but then it gives you the opportunity to be heard and listened to, and nobody can interrupt you. When you got that talking piece, you got to sit back. And then if there's times where things get tension, which it happens, you have to make sure, like, hey, let's revert back to our community agreements, and let's remember, like, not to come down on people, right? This ain't the space for that. But it does happen. But when it happens, you address it.
So I want to dive deeper into what you said regarding healing as well.
Yeah.
And why is it so important for us to heal?
It's so important to heal because we don't realize the traumas. If we don't heal certain traumas that continue to get passed on to our kids or passed around to the people around us, and we don't really look at the why. And it's very important because if you don't heal, you become what you hate most.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, systematically, so we talk about the systematic oppression, where we talk about just things that have affected us all differently. And, all of our experience have been different, but they have been similar. We get into these rooms and we don't come in there whining and we don't come in there complaining. We're very progressive in everything that we do and everything that we say. And what I love about the men's room is that I'm no longer in those rooms where we just talking about the 49ers and the Cowboys and LeBron versus Jordan. We in here, we really having conversations that in the end, we're intrigued, we're all participating in them. And then when we go home, we can reflect, and it is healing.
Yep.
It's very healing. I was just telling y'all when we was on stage, I was like, I'm gonna see my therapist for the first time next month.
Oh man, come on.
Yes, now I've been with the guy. I've been seeing the guy for like 3 weeks, and it's awakening. It's just good to be able to express yourself to somebody who has a non-biased opinion, and then you don't have to worry about them going and talking, to somebody else. They're not choosing a side. So it's just very healing. And it's crazy because you're going to heal yourself eventually, not realizing you got all the answers within you. So, let's get back to you though, brother. I love it. I love how we're going. We're going to go back and we're going to go into community service now.
Yeah.
So you have a strong commitment to the community, definitely. Can you share with us some of the initiatives that you have been involved in and how they have impacted the Black community? Or it ain't just in the Black community, because your initiatives have impacted the community.
All right, so we already talked about the men's room. So the men's room was one that's been impactful. And then when I was at CSN, we created the Wolf. We created the the Wolf Den, and then the Pack. I created the Pack Connection, which is where I helped those students transfer from CSN to UNR, giving them connected, because students who never been on a plane before, giving them that access. What else? King of Jewels, I've mentored kids all throughout the city since 2016 with King of Jewels, but with the Alpha and Divas Tomorrow, since I came back, I never really stopped. Even when I went to college, I would come back home and still do stuff, but really since 2013 is when I really been mentoring since. Mentor kids at Sector, ECTA, Valley, High School, Mojave, West Prep, all these areas in the city I've been mentoring. And currently, King of Jewels has a contract with UNLV's Upper Bound, where I see over 500 kids. Really, 200. Yeah, really 150 kids every other Saturday. 3 times a month, I mentor myself and my guys from King of Jewels. We mentor these kids.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
We definitely got to connect.
Yeah.
I'll throw that out there while we on air. we definitely got to align.
Yeah.
But we talked about that in the past, man. That's just amazing. The fulfillment that you get from mentoring. Can you explain it?
Yeah, man. It's bigger than me, and I realized that a long time ago. When my teacher, her name was Mrs. Montalvo, in 11th grade, I met her. She exposed me to Joseph Campbell's The Power of the Myth. Then she exposed me to The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. And then Carlos Castaneda's Journey to Exelon. These books woke me up from what I thought reality was. And I then got stronger in faith in God. And that I asked God, like, what was my calling? And mentoring was it. Or working, being the therapy and the mentoring was my lane. And I stood by it since. And I was what, 16, 17 when I figured that out. And I think that was your question, right? Like what brought me the tie to community, right? That was it. And I'm giving back what God has given me. That's really what it is. But I understand my calling is way bigger than me. So it's not even about me. This is what I was born to do. And I realized that very early on.
What I love is the leadership, right? It's not, you're not trying to do it by yourself. You got a team.
I got a team. Yep. I got a squad with me. Yeah.
You collaborate. You want to shout out some of them? You want to shout out the team real quick?
Yeah. So huge shout out to my guy, Nicholas Matthews, who's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Shout out to him. Shout out to Darius Williams as well. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Tavares, Bolden, my frat brother, Derek Jimphy, and our little bro who actually he was in the youth group and he was in King of Jewels. His name is Jabari Flanagan. Now he's up at Reno, but he does a lot of mentoring with us as well. That's the team for King of Jewels, and that's who I mainly roll with. And also my boy Cortland Hill. He does a lot of stuff with us as well. And my boy Kwaku as well. Kwaku is in the background. Also my boy Darren. So that's the team. That's the squad right there. That's the squad.
Yeah. Shout out to them all, man. And so another thing I wanted to big up you on was, the leadership. So I'm not trying to do everything. I'm not trying to be in the front.
Nah.
I've been to your restorative justice workshop, one of the first ones, and I know we're gonna continue to learn more about them. So it's like creating a system. If we're gonna go in and do this mentoring, and at least if we're gonna do it, we should have some structure behind it.
Yes,
and it should look consistent throughout the city. The content may be different, but I think when you get people used to that structure, that's when you start creating culture. Yep. And I see what you're doing, man. I love it.
That's because that was the whole thing. I have to be real with you. Last year was actually overwhelming for me because I don't mind being up front, but I'd rather be back here. Like I don't want to be seen. Like my personality may not come off that way, but I'm like, listen, I'd rather be in the background chilling, or background do the work, and you ain't even gotta say hi to me. I'm good over here. Like that's how I really feel. But most times where it's time for me to step up, I'll step up. I don't shy away from it. Yeah. And but I rather, to be honest with you, last one was a little bit overwhelming. I had too much lights on me. I didn't like that too much. But
and we talked about that. We looked at your personality thing. It was like, yeah, man, you adapted a lot. And it's good that you're able to get out your comfort zone.
Yeah,
right, I know we tough on time. I want to make sure I get this last question in, and then I got a few other little extra things,
of course,
towards the end as well. So the fifth segment is kind of like your final thoughts. So what is the message that you have for the Black community on creating their own history and taking control of their own narratives?
Yes, I'll say this. This comes from Joseph Campbell, which is what you titled. It's called, I would say, Follow Your Bliss. And what that means from Joseph Campbell is follow your innermost, deepest passion. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You would do it for free. You love it that much, you would do it for free. And that's what mentoring has been for me. I did it for so long for free that it didn't matter because I loved it that much. It fulfilled me. It fulfilled my life's calling. And because I did that, now I get paid to do it. But following my innermost passion so that it turns to compassion. That COM and compassion means community. That's what compassion means. You don't do it for yourself no more. That's my message. You can't just be so money is an effective tool to get things done, but it shouldn't be the main purpose. It shouldn't be the main focus.
That's right.
If anything, it should just be a tool you use so that you can empower, not a tool to just have some selfish gain. That's not what it's about. And once you understand the two, I think that's when the Black community can truly thrive on a level that's beyond us. Because unfortunately, a lot of folks do things for selfish reasons. I'm like, bro, this ain't about me, dude. I'm trying to take these kids further than what it is. Take it to the next level. Be the best you. The only thing I request is that when you ballin', just invite me to the yacht party. I can get my own way there. You ain't got to worry about it. Just get me there. I'll fly my own way there. Just give me the invite. I'll be there. That's what I tell all my kids. I'm like, when y'all make it and y'all get that yacht party, just invite me. I'll find my own way there. That's all I tell them.
That's what's up, man. I love it. Yeah, the fulfillment.
Yes, sir.
As a speaker, when I speak to children, at first, people think it's intimidating, and then you don't realize that once you connect, you got it.
Yeah.
Now it's what do you have to offer them, right? Because now that you connected with them, they want something.
Yep.
And a lot of it could be education, it can be attention. I mean, it could be whatever. If you read the 5 love languages, you can learn what's important to every person. And I think that once you start to understand the child, I think that's when you can start to really influence them to be better. And I'm telling you, to see a child had that aha moment, or just to give them that hope, and then just to see them constantly improving and getting better, and then coming to you and saying, hey, look, guess what, I did this, and guess what, I did this. That's the most amazing feeling, man. It's so rewarding. So for you to be creating that, and for you to be not just getting young men to come together to make them feel good, but actually giving them something to leave with that's tangible, that they can utilize in their families, in their schooling, in their relationships, in their friendships. I think that's so amazing. So I commend you for that.
Thank
you. Because you did that type of work, that's why you get acknowledged for awards like Tyrone Thompson. The Tyrone Thompson Award. And you want to tell them a little bit about, that recognition, and whatever you can, man. How'd you get it? Who gave it to you, and how did it make you feel?
Yeah, no problem. That award is actually the City of Las Vegas Trailblazer Award. And it's called the Tyrone Thompson Emerging Leader Award. And every year they give it to someone who's truly doing the work, emerging, who's out there doing the work, and she or non-binary don't definitely want to give recognition and love to. That's really what it is. But Tyrone Thompson was about that. Assemblyman Tyrone Thompson was one of my many mentors, and he was about the work, and he was about, I need you to step up. And when he passed away, it hurt because I was getting ready to tell him what we had coming. I had that was my first big one that I did at CSN, where I was bringing Raymond Santana Jr., one of the Central Park 5 members. And the day I found out I got it, I called him. He was in legislative session. And later on that week, he passed away. when we were supposed to talk, and we didn't get the chance to. So from there, I took that as like, all right, like all the times he was telling me like, you and Nick are next. You and Nick need to keep going. And I was like, all right, like we always heard him, but I was like, all right, damn, it's time to step up. When he passed away, it hurt. So it meant a lot to me to get that award. That award meant the world because it came from his sister. It came from Asha Jones. It came from Clady White. It came from the GOATs of Las Vegas. Like, they voted for me to get that. And I was like, yo, like, I'm honored. Like, Clady White, Asha Jones, Tyrone Thompson's sister. Like, oh, what? I was thankful.
That's legacy, man. So congratulations to you. You know, rest in peace to Tyrone Thompson. The best thing is that his spirit constantly lives on. You know, his name, it forever lives on. You see him everywhere. He's been acknowledged. Schools wise, I know he has a building named at the CSN.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so and that was the crazy part. I opened up that student union. That's the name. Right. Yeah, so I opened that up too.
Crazy how things come around 360.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the type of legacy that we're trying to leave, though. You know, I want my name to live on forever. You know, and I know because I wanted to, and because of the work that's done, it happened. And I know yours is gonna live on as well, brother. So let's acknowledge a few more. You didn't do some names out there, so now we don't have the name segment, you know. And sorry for those who don't get remembered, who don't get named. You know, I'm putting him on the spot. But who are community members who deserve acknowledgement?
I'll start with Ricky White Barlow, who's former councilman who started the Alpha Divas tomorrow. Joshua Gillicay Jr., Julius Davis, Leon Jackson, Terrence Capers, Wale. Jason Beasley, Lawrence Weekly, Michael Garrett Bombay. Why am I spacing brother's name? He used to also be the advisor for the Capital League, and his name is spacing me right now. Please forgive me on that, brother. But also Natasha Williams, Waila Clark, Patrina, Nitsa, Twink, all the old advisors from AMDOT, Casina Boone, legendary Casina Boone, JB's, Asha Jones, Monica Ford, Dr. Tiffany Tyler,
right?
Dr. Lisa Hibbler. Oh man, these are goats. These are goats I grew up with. So, dang, who else? I think Joshua Gillicay's wife, Ebony, she's a GOAT. Brittany Roberts is another GOAT. Who else, dog? I'm thinking of all the women. Oh, I'll say Kamika Walton. I'll say Charlene Reeves. I'll also say, dang, there's been a lot. Oh, Dr. Morentic, Anthony Morentic, and his wife, Belinda Morentic. I'm trying to think of everybody.
That's a lot. And you know what's good is, and the reason why I did this is because I always want people to realize like who we are, man. It's amazing people.
They all made an impact, and it was just me. Like, but they did so much for so many. But I think the people forget it takes a village, bro. Like, it takes a village. Oh, I can't forget. I have to mention Alex Bernal and Melvin Beetle. Rest in peace to Beetle. Alex Bernal. Sheesh. Mario Davis. Dang, these dudes I grew up with, man. So, Bruce, Glenn, all these cats, these are folks who have had a hand on me over the years. Yeah,
it truly do take a village, especially when we talking about greatness, man. All right, so I want to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got all this help, and I know you know all of these important people, but it's a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
who don't know who you are, who have never had opportunity to assist you, to help you, you know, to just be there for you. So how can the community help Sean?
When people try to talk about restorative justice, but they don't really know what it is, send them my way. And then also a huge thing is give grace to people. That's people, like, most times I sit back and folks talk, people do dehumanize more than they humanize. and it's unfortunate. The expectations people put on other people that they don't put on themselves, but they want the grace. Like, nah, give people grace. You don't understand where folks come from. There's lessons that folks haven't learned yet that they probably will, probably never will, but it's not our place to judge them. It's like the 4 agreements. Don't take things personal. Don't judge folks. Never make assumptions, and always do your best. That's really what I can always tell people.
I love it. So I want to add to that one is remember that what we see is not always
that part. Because I ain't perfect. I'll tell you that in a hot minute. I ain't perfect, which is part of why I make sure I humble myself. Like, and that's why I'm big on grace, because I'll tell you everybody in a minute I ain't perfect, but I damn sure do the best I can, like, to make sure that I give grace to others, even when I see some funny stuff.
And there's physical warfare, and remember, there's spiritual warfare. And you never know what a person is going through spiritually. So that's why you must extend that grace, man. Because, people be at the top of their tops. Everything look like they're going good, and you never know the battle that they deal with. Right?
That was me 6 years ago. When I first got divorced, it was a rough, man. When I tell you, I still ain't forget. Like, folks, I thought was in my corner, was not in my corner, had a lot to say. And now, fast forward 6 years later, I'm going here, and the same folks is like, "Oh my God, yes, Sean." And I'm like, I give you grace, because right. I ain't forget,
never.
But I don't hold it against you, because I was like, listen, that was an expectation you had on you, but I'm like, man, don't put your expectation on me, because I'm gonna be me.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. All right, so real quick, let's talk about the men's room, because I think it's very important.
Yeah.
For the Black men who listen to this, and the women who have Black men in their lives, encourage them to come to this. I mean, we're not trying to sell out, but I mean, we are trying to fill the room, right?
Yeah. I always say it's more about, we're dealing with spirits, man. We more than we do with human beings, but the men's room is a safe space for you to learn, to build, to grow with one another, to be vulnerable. We don't record in there, just so y'all know. So we take pictures, but we don't record. And the cool part about the men's room is that if you weren't in the men's room, you don't know what we talked about. And that's something that's been going on across the board. Like, people still don't know they still don't know what the men's room is.
We ain't talking about the 49ers and the Cowboys. We ain't talking about.
Yeah, we definitely don't talk about that. Like, we get deep, and there's times where Black men have cried in there, like multiple. And you just, this is a space for us to finally have our voice heard, because most times we don't. So that's what the men's room's about. But just so y'all know, the women's room is coming. Finally. Because my thing was, folks kept asking me, when you doing the women's room? I was like, I ain't doing that. Like I'll help y'all in the background, but I don't feel like that's right for me to do that for a woman. Like, I feel like a woman should lead that, and that's what's happening. So the women's room is coming.
So y'all look out for the women's room as well.
Yep.
Sean, give them some parting words, and then I got one more thing for you, and we out of here, brother.
Yeah. So my parting words would be, follow y'all bliss, man, and remember, time does not exist.
I love it. All right, so I'm gonna bring this up real quick. I told you about this part.
Yeah, you did. You did.
So I got 2 upcoming episodes where I want to make sure. I got some 2 brothers that's coming up next.
Okay.
So one of my brothers is Jaron Ray.
My man Jaron. That's my guy.
Man? Go ahead and tell me a little bit about this man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce him.
So Jaron, actually, I met him through his wife. I used to work with his wife at Nevada Partners. Jaron is in banking. That dude has been working at Credit Union Bank and multiple different banks for years. He is trying to bring a Black-owned bank here to Vegas, and as soon as he does, I'm going to go over there with my money. So shout out, Jaron is the GOAT. He also, I think he sits on the chair for the Urban Chamber as well.
Yeah, so shout out to the Urban Chamber.
Yeah, shout out to the Urban Chamber. He's the next up behind Sean Bell and Ken Evans. And now Jaren and Cameron are doing their thing with the Urban Chamber. So huge shout out to Jaren, man. That's my brother right there. Love that dude, man. Our relationship has grown and blossomed, man. Like I've known that dude for almost 11 years now. So that's crazy to think about. I've known that dude for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then so I got Jaren coming up. He is February 8th at noon. And definitely going to bring us some information about the commerce and bringing small business and elevating small business here in the Valley.
Yeah.
And Black businesses. And then I got another brother. He's actually going to be coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
You know, he was a late addition.
Okay.
And this is my man, Richard Jack.
Richard.
You know anything about Richard Jack?
Yeah, I know Richard. I know his partner more, Antonis Pullum. They do Gentlemen by Choice. But Richard Jack is a cool cat, man. He definitely comes with it, and he means what he says. So salute to Richard Jack.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for that. And I look forward to his interview as well, February 7th at 9 a.m. And, you know, we're not doing all mentorship, but these are some brothers who are doing mentorship in the Valley.
Yes.
I not only want to bring light to these fellas, but I also want to bring light to their organizations, because last time we did an event together, we had women in there and they were saying, we need groups, we need resources, we need men who are willing to lead. And we were like, well, are you aware of all of these groups? And you got 3 in here right now. So, you know, let people know what we have out there. But man, I commend you, man. God bless you. A lot of love to you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the fact that I met you at this time while you in your time of ascension. You know, why not? Why not partner with somebody who was aligned with you, who's doing great things already, man? So I commend you. So if you ever need anything from me, any assistance, volunteer work, man, call upon me. And if you ever need anything from this community and we need to put the word out, let's do it.
Got you. Appreciate you, man.
All right, you be safe out there. Everybody, y'all continue to create Black history. Everybody create it your own way. I love you. I know Sean loves you. I know we love one another. Let's just continue to come together, man, and create greatness. And I think that's what we already doing. So shout out. I commend you. I commend everybody who watched. I appreciate everybody who's going to watch at the replay. I know we did this during the lunch hours, different timing, but that's the beauty of podcasting and digital world.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Under the Hood. Shout out to Just Be the team over there. We appreciate y'all for your production. And until next time, man, I'll talk to you.
Be easy. Be blessed.